Hey, welcome. It's Dr. John Bush. This is week 10 matchups report for my process. I'll have the static version of this article, fake pigskin, but you can always come back and listen, or if you miss something, you can look at the static images. We're going game by game, looking at predicted points, over-unders, and defense against position, trying to see some hot spots that we can take advantage of here. So Thursday night, that was an interesting game. But let's shake the Etch-a-Sketch and move on here. And here's the overall view of what's left, games 2 through 14. The score, the underdog, the favorite, the score, the dog, underdog, the score, the spread, over, under, and the point scoring. So right now we have two extremely high predicted games, Dallas, Atlanta, and the Chargers in Minnesota. Then we have some really nice four other high scoring games. So we're talking 6 games left here for that should be point bonanza. And if you're a daily fantasy sports player, there's most likely where your main stacks will come, unless you can be contrarian and find a stack from the games that are predicted not to be so high scoring. Those will be above below average. There's 5 of those. So that might be some possibilities as well. So I'm going to go game by game so we can kind of see what's what here. Game 2, Dallas, Atlanta. Extremely high, 55 points over under the spread. Dallas basically a touchdown and a field goal. 37-19. Atlanta plays Dallas tough. I understand that score there, but that seems low. And it would surprise me that Atlanta is closer than people think. So I guess the over-under might be vulnerable here. Dallas, if they can bounce back from whatever it was last week, the hangover, whatever it was for Dak, and wake up, they should collect points. Atlanta faces Dallas, and Dallas is overall it's kind of okay, but the actual point by section metrics are really skewing tough. So that's kind of the flip side of that prediction. Just be aware of that. So what I have here is the game, the team, the week, the opponent, home or away, the overall offensive view, and then the point by point, or the position by position. And that's really what I go for and look. So Atlanta's been playing, Dallas has been playing pretty tough. Dallas gives RB of 9, DAP of 9. That's almost league's toughest here. So Mike Davis is going to have a tough go over it. You figure Patterson's going to collect scores by passing. 43 is the DAP, which is below average. 50 is kind of average. And the wide receivers will be pressured at 24. Pitts should get his normal play at 44. You could take a gamble with Dallas's defense, because Dak can give up some points and whatnot. That's a deep defensive play. Dallas, Atlanta. Atlanta overall seems easy, but if you look at the point totals, it's not so. 24, 27, 46. So Atlanta will be doing its scoring by the, I'm sorry, Dallas will be doing its scoring by the wide receivers. So Ezekiel's might have a tougher time than people think here. I wouldn't use the kicker and the Dallas D. I think I would pass. So some ways this seems tougher than I would think, actually, as I look at it. But yet, it's predicted to be highly scoring. So they're thinking it's all going to work out for Dallas. And I just don't know. I mean, if Dallas can do 37, Atlanta's going to do well as well. This could be both suck. I feel like there's a lot more uncertainty here now that I kind of get my spider sense going when I look at these metrics. I'm not encouraged by a lot of these numbers here. I don't see any real bright spots here. I would be cautious. Pittsburgh and Detroit. Detroit basically gets Swift should get a 63. Sounds like he's the show for Detroit because Pittsburgh has been really tough on the QB, the wide receiver, and the tight end with Hawkinson. He's going to have a long day. So if he doesn't come out of this game too well, just remember he was facing a tough go. Detroit's kickers fine in their defense might be worth a shot. Pittsburgh gets, Harris gets a 56, and the tight end here gets a good spot, but Ben and the wide receivers are going to have to earn their play here. So looks like a lot more rushing than you might predict, and that's probably why the overall over-under is 44 points. So they're predicting Pittsburgh 32 and Detroit almost 2 touchdowns at 13-14, 10-point game. So they're really counting on Pittsburgh's run or pass to Najee Harris, and their tight end here in the red zone is what's going to collect them the 4 or 5 touchdowns. Could be. Just, I do believe Dante Johnson, if Claypool is out, should collect scores as well. But this is tougher than you might think. This could be a tricky game here, and it's predicted to be below average. Some more caution here. This should be a better scoring game, Tampa Bay and Washington. The running backs are going to have to earn their keep there. It's kind of below average, 38 and 44. It's going to be tough. It's not a walkover by any means. Washington, Heineke should do well. It's just Tampa Bay's pretty tough on the wide receivers and tight ends. I would use Washington, probably not. The defense. Tampa Bay should be collecting with its tight ends. This Howard or Brait could actually score some, could be 2-score tight ends. That could be interesting. Evans should collect, but then again, he becomes the focal. So maybe Tyler Johnson comes in with if Godwin doesn't play. If Godwin plays, then I wouldn't play anybody but Godwin and Evans. But Brady's going to have to work for it. This is not a give me game. You might think it is, but I'm not so sure. But it's predicted Tampa Bay 34, Washington 18, over under 51. I think I'm a little more confident we'll get some nice scoring in this game. Tennessee, New Orleans figures to be a defensive struggle, even though, at least the rushing side, Kamara's out. So Ingram, everybody's rushing, but just realize Tennessee it's not a cakewalk. It's one of the toughest, if not the toughest in the league against running backs at a 0. And New Orleans is tough as well. So Tennessee and New Orleans are going to have a hard time rushing. And I think pass catching out of the backfield is the way this is going to flow. The quarterbacks get an above average game, so that's not too bad. And the wide receivers here. Tight ends are going to be a little rough. New Orleans just hadn't been using its tight end. Used New Orleans kicker, but I'd avoid both defenses. Looks like it's going to be pass happy here. So even though it's 44, I don't know if New Orleans should be the underdog. I think it's closer than people think here. It wouldn't surprise me to really get some points scored here. I really like the wide receivers in both games. So I think there's, if I was doing daily fantasy, I might set some stacks up here. Nice. Indianapolis versus Jacksonville. Jacksonville's always figured to not do well. They can implode, but Indianapolis is tough, no doubt about it. And but Indy's given a lot to the running back, and Jacksonville, 75 is not bad, folks. So I'm liking that. Worried about Wentz and the wide receivers. Jacksonville was playing the wide receivers tough, but they hadn't been playing the tight ends. So Mo Alley Cox and Doyle are in play. Jacksonville, Taylor. Indianapolis has Taylor. Taylor should romp and stomp with a 75, and the tight end should collect. So that's where I think the scoring comes, 34 points. Jacksonville should collect. Dan Arnold has an opportunity here to score this week. I would play him. I think you could do some stacks in this game. I like Marvin Jones, but a 30's kind of tough. But I can see Jacksonville doing better than 14 points. I think they're going to do better than 14 points. I don't know if Indiana, you could go over 48. I feel pretty good about some of these right here, those tight ends. I might play both tight ends in a daily fantasy kind of quarterback tight ends on both. Well, I think you're going to play one quarterback, so maybe some alternative lineups there. That's how you play it. Cleveland, New England should be strictly defensive. I'm not optimistic about a lot of high scoring here. New England will take out probably D'Ernest, so they will stack the box. Belichick will probably take him out, and so Mayfield's going to have to pass. But, the wide receivers, Landry, Higgins maybe? I don't know who's left here. I'm getting confused. But anyway, I would set up some stacks here, 61 and 83. I like that. Cleveland loves its tight ends, but they're going to have, I'm not sure they're scoring this week. Maybe they do, but they're going to have to earn their keep there. New England, it's all about the quarterback here and probably Henry and the wide receivers. The running backs get about an average game. So this seems like a balanced rushing, passing attack. Belichick, I think they're going to beat Cleveland. Cleveland away. I think this is a you pick 'em game here. I'm not sure the over-under's in play, but I think New England could outscore Cleveland here. Cleveland's kickers are okay. I wouldn't really play the kicker for Folk and the defense here. But I really like this 93 here, and I like this 83. I really think we're going to get some more, maybe more passing than we think. Cleveland's probably going to have to pass. Maybe Dearness is, a superstar in the waiting. Maybe he'll surprise us, but he's going to have to earn it against a 43. Game 8, Buffalo. I don't know what they did last week. I don't know if, they just went to sleep. I don't know. So 37-11, that any other week I'd be like, yeah, it's all day Buffalo, but I'm cautious because everybody got burned last week. Buffalo should romp and stomp, and their tight end Knox should go. The wide receivers and quarterback get an average game. Singletary gets an average game. It should be all good here. The Jets versus Buffalo, tough. The Jets should be running with Carter, and the tight end hasn't been good, but he has an opportunity. I think it's going to be a long day for the wide receivers in the Jets. I'm not overly playing those guys. You might slip in a surprise D if Buffalo's not, if who they were last week could surprise us. Okay, Arizona should beat Carolina even without Murray. Don't know if he's playing. Carolina's he has PJ Walker this week. The line thinks they score a couple field goals and a touchdown. Arizona 33. Over under 45. That's below average. The Connor and McCaffrey are going to have a harder time rushing against in the 30s here. Look at this. Quarterbacks are fine, so PJ Walker could surprise, and the wide receivers. This could be a strictly passing game. I would say Carolina could use his tight end, but they hadn't been. So I think I'd avoid the defenses as well. This could be more of a defensive struggle than we think here. But it looks like it's what scoring is going to be from the passing. And so McCaffrey out of the backfield more than McCaffrey rushing. Chargers in Minnesota should be an entertaining game, extremely high. Looking at the numbers, Dalvin gets an average game, which for him is good. The Chargers, Eckler's going to have to work and probably pass catch versus rush. Quarterbacks 90 and 74 are sweet. Wide receivers average and easy. That is good for the Chargers. So Mike Williams should bounce back. Keenan Allen. Cook should bounce, and Parham should bounce back. Conklin. This should be all hands on deck, getting lots of firepower, points, scoring, and that's why this is extremely high here. Minnesota might be an interesting D to use this week. So, interesting. But I believe that's why the extreme high is the potential for lots of passing goodness. Denver, Philly, this could be more of a defensive struggle, 45 below average. Philly, Scott and Howard should collect, both of them at 105. That's almost. Denver is real tough against the pass. Look at this. Not so against the run. So I'm all in on the Philadelphia running backs this week. Be cautious about the other players. Even Goddard. Well, it's an 47's average, but I'm thinking this is where you exploit here. Denver is going to be more pass happy, and looks like Fant should have a day. Kickers and defenses should be used in both Denver and Philadelphia. So it looks kind of interesting that Philadelphia will be rushing and Denver should be having more pass catching. Javonte Williams might actually get his first touchdown this week. That could be really interesting. Melvin Gordon's going to keep the defense honest, the Phillies defense honest, but I think the passing is where they're going to go here. Teddy Bridgewater should slice and dice here. So that's what you think would happen. Rodgers hopefully is back, 30-19, 50 points high, lots of passing goodness. Seattle's Collins is going to have a long day. Not expecting much out of Collins. It's all about Wilson. His tight ends, Dissler, Everett could surprise, folks. 105. There's your stacks right there. Metcalf and Lockett. I'm all in there on those stacks. Green Bay, again, I think play them early and often with lots of passing and Aaron Jones. So Green Bay will try to do a balanced game, do enough passing, but I think Aaron Jones is going to soak up a lot of attention and time. So, this score suggests that Green Bay won't have to pass as much. So that's never good. If you have Adams, you want lots of passing so he can collect multi-scores. I think he might get a score, but I don't know if this is the week he does a hat trick with 3 or 4 scores. I don't think it's that week. Green Bay might be a good defense to play as well. 68. Interesting. Game 13, KC should wake up and crush the Rams. It should be high point scoring, but, KC has found a way to lose. Okay, so even though this is the favorite and the dog, it wouldn't surprise me if it was flipped. But I do like the 51, and I think there's a lot of passing goodness here. KC, the Williams should collect and score, and Mahomes should go to Kelsey early and often. May get 2 scores out of Kelsey this week. Look at that, 82. Tyreek's going to have to earn it at an average game, but he can do that. I wouldn't use the D. Kicker's fine. Raiders should be okay. Josh Jacobs and Drake on the rushing, passing out of the backfield. Nice. I'm sorry, that wasn't Stafford. It is, I think that's wrong. I think that should, well, I may have mislabeled this. If I did, my bad. I forgot which one's which. I think it's the Raiders, because I sure seem to do that, but I like that. Anyway, Raiders or the Rams should be all about the passing there. So I think that's good. And it says the Rams in Frisco, so I probably was the Raiders. I misdid that. Rams are figured, yep, outscore San Francisco. Garofalo's been a deer in the headlights here. San Francisco rushing, Mitchell should get 2 scores. Look at that. That is so sweet. Rams should get 1. It's all about the passing. Stafford should have a field day, slice and dice. And that's why it's so high. Look at that. That is so great. Frisco, if Kittle plays, he should do well. The wide receivers, Ayuk and Samuel, should do well. So it's going to be a lot of passing, actually. So this over/under may be low. So this could really go for you here. I definitely want to use San Francisco's D. That's and the kickers are fine. Not sure about the tight end here at all. So before that was, but Kittle has an opportunity. So if you draft him, might start getting back to where you wanted to be with him. Okay, that was my hurried 10-cent tour of the matchups. So watch the static article. Note the typo there, the Rams and the Raiders. I messed up. Okay, hope this helps. At least gives you a starting point for thinking. Okay, that's how I use this. Not in stone, written in blood, but just suggestions. Okay, because nobody can predict the future. Okay, good luck, folks. Week 10, let's crush this business.